Hi, Chuck McCown here. Hopefully I've got the anti-shaky thing turned on. This is one of our newer units. This is supposedly a 25 kilowatt. It says right on the front of it. 480 volt, 25 kilowatt induction heater. And it is quite a bit beefier than some of the other ones inside, but it's still about the same. It's got a three-phase bridge up there at the top, and that's feeding these, it's feeding this big-ass capacitor, filter capacitor up at the top, which then in turn feeds these IGBT transistors. They go into this inductor, into this isolation transformer, and on out. Now I want to show you something. Let's see, what do we got here to compare with? Okay, 600. Now crank it all the way up. Now just watch how fast this thing gets hot. Hot, 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 hot. Woo! I want to give you a couple of pointers here. You want to put that clamp on amp meter on one of the power lines back here. Now we bought this Weaver water chiller. It's a great machine, but it's not able to keep up with the heat that this thing's throwing off. We had just been cycling water through a barrel back there, but our pump died today. So we're going to kick this machine on and show you the amps on one of the legs. I earlier today checked all the legs, and they're pretty much the same. So yeah, kick it on. Oh, you see that? 18, 19 amps. Okay, and that's when it first turns on, and it settles down about 15 after the capacitor gets charged and everything. So 15, I mean, if you really want to stretch it, maybe 19. Let's kill it. Let's measure the voltage that's on the three-phase back here. Yeah, now it says AC. Okay. Well, what do you know? 480 volts. All right, so if you take 480 times, you know, I'm being generous, 19, and then multiply that by 1.73, which is the square root of 3, you're going to come up with a number less than 25,000. Now here's some of the older units that we have been relying on to do this exact same brazing, and I'll just show you how slow these things are to heat up. And also, these are 240 volt. We run them off 277. But I jacked one of them up with a boost buck transformer to 240, and the amps times the volts is like 7.5 kilowatts. So anyhow, when we get this one plumbed up, we'll show you how much slower it is to heat up the same part. Alright, I misspoke there. We actually have these hooked up to our 208 three-phase here in the building, because they're a single-phase unit. You see there's only two wires going in, but it's pretty much, here, take your drink. It's pretty much the same configuration as the big boy. All of these, I think they're all made in the same factory in China, even though I've talked to a bunch of different people over there. They're just using this simple single-phase bridge rectifier here on this side. Same thing, aluminum block. Exact same configuration. IGBTs are back here. There's two of them. You can see the little white ceramic bits down at the bottom. That's the bottom of them. Kind of see the side of it up here. And those can blow. They got a little bit of like a snubber circuit board up here at the top. And then those are all fed off of the driver board, which this is the four drivers of those 4 transistors that are in the 2 transistors per pack. So what else do you need to know about these things? There's a pressure sensor in them. Trying to see where it is. Ah, here it is, right here. This pressure sensor, and it wants so many psi or so much water pressure to turn on, but really all it wants is flow. So on more than one of these, we have disconnected, and you just open the circuit and it thinks it has pressure. So maybe that might void the warranty, I don't know, but they don't really care about pressure. These things do not give one whit about pressure. They just care about water flow. I have no idea why they designed it with 3 water outs and 2 water ins. You think they could be a little more creative with their plumbing here and put things in series or parallel inside the box. So that would be my suggestion. We had one of these shipped brand new. It didn't work. It was some cold solder joints right here on these pots that control the output power. And the folks, tech support folks, actually started working with me pretty good, but the problem with tech support in China is they come to work at 6 p.m. our time and they leave at 3 a.m. our time. I'm in the Mountain Time Zone. So even if you pose an email at 6 p.m. or 9 p.m. or midnight, they aren't going to get back to you. They'll get back to you your next morning. You'll see it there when you get to work. So there's always that day delay between queries, tech support queries. Also, they always want you to send them a video. So I don't know how many videos I've sent. They want you to, they want you to take your voltmeter and measure the volts between here and here, and they want a video of it. So I don't know why they need a video. You can just say, hey, the voltage or the impedance, the ohms, they want me to do a diode check, but they had to have the video. So that's no big deal. It's just a day delay. Now on this particular one, blew. Oh, here's the IGBT module. It blew an IGBT module, or at least according to their test that I did on it. It was bad, and this is really quick and easy to replace. And so I replaced it. Still didn't work. So I thought, well, they come in pairs. Maybe it's because it's out of balance and it needs to have a matched pair. So I bought another one, put it in, no change. So I told him, I says, I really think the circuit driving this thing is bad. So I think what happened was when the original module blew, it probably internally shorted out and fed some high voltage, because you're running, 400 or 500 volts up here. I mean, the capacitor is what, 500 volts? 450 volts. It isn't quite that high. It's like 380, I think. But I figured it probably backfed some high voltage into the controller board. And I said, hey, I think this might have happened. And they sent me a controller board. It took like 2 weeks, 3 weeks. And not only that, they sent these two little snubber boards too, along with it, just in case. No questions asked, no proof of anything. They just like, yeah, okay, sure. And I was starting to doubt it, but eventually, hey, the parts showed up and I put them in and it worked. So we restored it back to its original glory. But what I really want to say is these guys are good guys. They make a good product. We use the heck out of them. But this unit has an input power of like 7.5 kilowatts. 8 if you're being generous. Maybe 8 on that unit. I jacked the voltage up to a proper, from 208 to 240, okay? And that's input power. Now you talk about input power versus output power. Well, it's always going to be less. So we're gonna get some video of this one operating, so I can prove to you what I'm saying is true. I'm not. Don't take this as dissing the brand at all. Been very happy to have them. They've really solved a problem for us, and they work really well. But if you're comparing these against some other brand, say a US brand or a German brand, and the US brand says it's 25 kilowatt, and you compare it with this one, you're just going to be astounded at the difference. So if you're just basing things on kilowatt, make sure you at least cut it in half when you're looking at these machines. Now I'm only talking about, they all seem to come from the same place. You notice they have this blue and the control layout. They all seem to have this same control layout, the timers and the display and the buttons and all. They're very similar, outside and in. And if you go to the website of the company, they show rooms just full of these things. So I think they're all coming out of the exact same place, even though if you check them out on, I don't know, Amazon or eBay or whatever, they all seem to have different names of people to contact. So that's just the way China does things.